talk about the revised reduced syllabus, and based on that we would be talking about the geographical map locations that are part of the syllabus and the guidelines. So under the first chapter we have soil and the classification of soil. Now when you are locating soil, what's important is it's not a point location, it's an area location. So you would have to mark the area first of all. Now what are the important categories? We can simply say the region in the western area of Rajasthan is the arid soil. The region where you have the tributaries of Ganga and Indus is the region for the alluvial soil. Above the alluvial soil, in the north of it, there is a lot of tarai soil that is seen. Then we have the mountain soil in the North India, in the regions of the Himalayan belt, and again in the northeast, northern regions of Arunachal Pradesh, we have the mountain and the forest soil that is seen. The region which is part of the Deccan Plateau is the region of the black soil. Now we have the gradients for the black soil. It varies from medium to dark black and so on. But the idea is it is main region where you have cultivation, so you can remember it as black and white. So on the black soil you have white cotton flowers that bloom, and that's why you have a lot of cotton cultivation which is seen. So that's a good way of remembering it. Then on the western Ghat areas you have the peaty and the marshy soil that is there. Again, what is very important to understand is the regions of the northeast. Within the regions of the northeast, we have a section where we have the laterite soil. Laterite soil is also found in a little of the parts of Kerala. So you do have laterite soil on the coastal areas here. The regions where the rivers merge are the areas where deltic soil is seen, which is highly fertile in nature. So those are some of the major classifications that we have done for the soil. So this is about the soil classification. The next is about the water resource, the chapter on water resource. Under that we would be talking about dams. 8 major dams have been talked in this section. So 4 from North India, 4 from South India. We do have a couple of other dams that we have marked here, but for your purpose I will be highlighting what is there for your syllabus. So the first is the Salal project, which lies in Jammu Kashmir, and this is the region which is this is the dam which is based on Chenab river. The next is Bhakra Nagal on Satluj river. Then we have the Tehri dam in Uttarakhand on Bhagirathi river. Very important for this time in light of the recent flash floods that had happened. And on Chambal we do have the Rana Pratap Sagar dam. So 4 of these dams that we have covered. So one is in Rajasthan, Rana Pratap Sagar. The next in Jammu and Kashmir, which is the Salal project. Then in Uttarakhand we have the Tehri dam, and then on Satluj river we have the Bhakra Nagal, one of the highest gravity projects in India. The next is in the south. We again have 4 important locations. First is the Sardar Sarovar Dam in Gujarat. This is based on Narmada river, and this was one of the regions where we had lot of movements and agitations that evolved on the base of the Sardar Sarovar Dam and the issues regarding lifting the height of it. Then we have in the region of 17 that is marked, that is on the Krishna river, we have the Nagarjun Sagar Dam. On the tributary of Krishna, which is Tungabhadra, we do have another dam which is Tungabhadra Dam in the same name, and on Mahanadi we have another dam which is known as the Hirakund Dam. So 4 important dams in South India. Now dams are over, water resources done. Let's move to next chapter, which is agriculture. Under agriculture we will see the agricultural locations for major crops. So rice, as we can see, is mainly grown along the coastal areas or the regions of high rainfall. So this is the region where you have highest proportion of rice cultivation. But note that with Green Revolution and the success of Green Revolution, we have seen significant increase in the production of rice in the regions of Indira Gandhi Canal and the parts of Punjab, Haryana. So those are the areas where recent rice production has been done recently, but the issue was with this, there was lot of water that was being utilized, leading to declining water tables in the regions of Punjab and Haryana. However, not part of your syllabus, but the idea is mostly you have to mark the coastal areas in terms of rice production. Coming on to wheat production, the whole of the north and the central belt, the region lying on the alluvial soil basically is the region where you have the wheat production. So this is the region of the wheat production. Cotton, we already discussed, so it is the region where you have the Deccan soil. So predominantly this is the region where you have a lot of cotton production. Also in parts of Gujarat, we do have cotton production. Extension of the Deccan Plateau in Malwa in Rajasthan again has the cotton production. Coming on next is jute. Jute is seen in the regions of West Bengal. Now, during the partition, the story was very different. What happened was, most of the jute production area remained in the regions of Bangladesh. However, the factories remained in India, and when there was a Indo-Pakistan divide that was witnessed, the jute industry witnessed a heavy blow. The next was in the region of South, we do have rubber crops, and that is mainly in the region of Kerala. So these are the areas for production of cotton, jute and rubber. Next we talk about sugarcane, tobacco, tea and coffee, but tobacco is not in your syllabus, so we'll just remove that. We'll focus on sugarcane, tea and coffee here. Now, tea is seen in the regions of Assam, the regions of Darjeeling, Siliguri and parts of northern West Bengal. So parts of northern West Bengal and Assam is the region where we have predominantly tea production that is seen. Coffee is seen in the regions of Maharashtra, southern Maharashtra, and then we have southern Karnataka and the regions of Kerala. So those are the regions where you have the coffee production. Just note that the coffee production regions are southern Karnataka and parts of Kerala. So that is the region for coffee production. Also parts of Tamil Nadu is the region where you have sufficient amount of coffee production. Sugarcane, we have two varieties. One grows in the north, the other grows in the regions of Maharashtra. So here we have the sugarcane production in the north and the south. So sugarcane, the sucrose content varies, and that's what we have covered in our separate lecture. But the idea is we have sugarcane production in the north as well as the south. So two specific belts well demarcated for sugarcane production in the north and the south. So that was on the chapter on agriculture. Moving forward with minerals and energy resources, so we first focus on thermal power plants, then we will talk about the nuclear power plants. Three important thermal power plants have been mentioned in your syllabus. First is the Singrauli, which is in the central India. Then you have Ramagudanam and then Namrup in Assam. So these are the three important thermal power plants that have been part of your syllabus, and those we have mentioned. We do have many more thermal power plants, but that is just to give you an insight how we look onto the development that has taken place in India. Coming on to nuclear power plants, four important: Kakrapara in Gujarat, Tarapur in Maharashtra, Kalapakkam in Tamil Nadu and Narora in Uttar Pradesh. So four of these locations for nuclear power plant. I repeat, very important: Kakrapara in Gujarat, Tarapur in Maharashtra, Kalapakkam in Tamil Nadu, and then we have Narora in Uttar Pradesh. Coming on next is the cotton textile manufacturing center. So in Gujarat we have Surat, in Madhya Pradesh it is Indore, in Maharashtra it is Mumbai, in Tamil Nadu it is Coimbatore, and in UP it is Kanpur. So five important locations where cotton textile industries are there: Indore, Surat, Mumbai, Kanpur and Coimbatore. The locations are well marked. The next is iron and steel plants. Now, iron and steel plants, we do have a huge concentration in the region of Chota Nagpur Plateau. So Bokaro and Jamshedpur, two important locations in Jharkhand. Then we have Durgapur in West Bengal, Bhilai in Chhattisgarh, Vijayanagar in Karnataka and Salem in Tamil Nadu. So those are the six important locations that are part of iron and steel production centers in India. Again, from this, Bhilai, Jamshedpur are important. The next is software technology parks. Now, India has recently been seeing a surge in the software industry, and we have seen numerous BPOs, outsourcing units coming in various parts of the country. So Noida is one of the hubs in UP. Then we have Gandhinagar in Gujarat. In Maharashtra, it is Mumbai and Pune. In Karnataka, it is Bangalore. Then we have Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, it is Chennai, and then Hyderabad. So those are the important locations for the software giants. Now Hyderabad, Cyberabad is the twin city that it has been called as. So again, important. So from these locations, you have Hyderabad and Bangalore as some of the major locations that are there. Coming on to major ports in India. Definitely when you are marking the ports, it would be along the coastal line. So the region where you have the ocean boundary that touches would be the region where you would have the ports first of all. Now, starting from the west coast, we have first location which is Kandla as part of your syllabus. Then Kandla in Gujarat. Then we have Mumbai in Maharashtra, Marmagoa in Goa. Then you have New Mangalore in the regions of Karnataka, Kochi in Kerala. So 5 locations on the west coast, north to south. So we start with Kandla in Gujarat. That was created to decongest the pressure on the Mumbai. So you had the new ports that were established, and after the partition, decongesting the efforts that were going to Karachi. Then we have Mumbai in Maharashtra. To decongest that, we have the Nhava Shava port. Then we have Marmagoa in Goa, where you had the iron and steel export that mainly takes place. Nowadays, there has been a legal issue going on. Then we have Karnataka, where you have New Bangalore. In Kerala, it is Cochin. Coming on to the west, coming on to the east, west is done. Coming on to the east, we start with Haldia, which was a port created to relieve the pressure on the Kolkata port. So close to Kolkata, we have Haldia. Then in the regions of Odisha, we have Paradeep port. Then we have Vishakhapatnam, Chennai and Tuticorin. So those are the important locations as the major ports that are seen. And finally, important airports. Where are the important airports and the names of those? So in the Punjab, we have Raja Sansi Airport. Delhi, definitely Indira Gandhi International Terminal, that is well known. In Mumbai, we have Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport, that is there. Hyderabad is known for Rajiv Gandhi Airport. Kolkata is known for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Airport, and Chennai is known as Meenam Kambam Airport. So those are the six important airports in India. So those were the map locations that are part of your official syllabus. We would be covering many more important sessions for you. Stay tuned, stay subscribed. Have a wonderful day ahead.